Now will we see the magic?
All right, where's Murray? Okay, who is it?
This is Jesus, kid.
Know then that it is the year 10,191.
Yes, we are bored. We're all bored now.
Hi, good night.
Good night.
Hello, and welcome to Mary vs. the Movies with your host, Mary Jones.
And Dennis Ling.
And this week, we are not watching a movie. I know, and we're not even watching a TV movie.
We're not?
No, we are watching a TV special.
Well, I guess technically the last one was too, right?
Well, no, there is a difference between a TV movie and a TV special.
Huh.
When we watched John Denver and the Muppets, that was a TV special.
So is the Star Wars Holiday Special, was that a special and not a movie?
Correct.
Oh. The Paul Lynn Halloween special, that's just a special?
It's a special, it's not a movie.
It's not canon for anything?
What in the name of God would it be canon for?
I don't know, the Kiss universe.
You know what? I'm laughing, but I'm just thinking to myself, for all I know, there is like a Kiss Bible,
Yeah.
and the Paul Lynde Halloween special is in there somewhere as like, and this revealed their relationship to Pinky Tuscadero.
Yeah.
Well, we're not watching a Paul Lynde special.
No.
As much fun as that might be, because I do actually like that Halloween special.
Yeah, it's fun.
It is. We are watching the Pee-wee Herman Christmas special from 1989.
Yay.
Have you ever seen this?
Nope.
Okay. I have not either. And I grew up watching Pee-wee on TV. You know, we talked about this with Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I never got to see the movies, but I did watch the TV show. And I had no idea that there was a Christmas special.
Are you sure you didn't see this? I have a feeling like halfway through this you'd be like, oh.
Well, look, it's entirely possible, but I currently, right now, I have no memory of watching this.
All I know is I watched a lot of TV and I don't remember any of it. So
Yeah, but that's true of now.
yeah, I'm just saying it passes my eyeballs, goes away.
The only thing you seem to retain any memory of is Jabberjaw.
Yeah, Jabberjaw. Yeah.
What is with Jabberjaw?
Jabberjaw, Marine Boy, those were my jams.
Oh, God.
Hanna-Barbera Olympics. Even young, I knew that was bad. It's like, oh, I have to suffer through this before I get to like a Roadrunner cartoon or something.
Exactly. Well, you know what wasn't suffering when I was a kid?
What?
Pee-wee.
Oh, okay.
No, that was great. So, yeah, the Pee-wee's Playhouse was on Saturday mornings when I was a kid. Again, I talked all about this in the other episode, and I always thought it was great. My mother hated it. So here's what I'm wondering. I don't know if this is going to be closer to the stage show, which was more adult, or if this is going to be closer to the Playhouse, which was for kids, or is this going to be more the movie, which is kind of its own thing, in that it's sort of for kids, but it's also its own sort of weird, campy.
I forget when Big Top Pee-wee came out. Is that 90s?
I want to say like 89, maybe.
So around the same time.
Around the same time. Now, I never saw Big Top Pee-wee, but the TV show, it was very much a kid's show. But with all, like, that kind of, you know, I don't know, kooky sensibility. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
You know? But before that was the stage show that was being done, like, I guess, at the Groundlings and stuff like that, where, you know, it was much more camp and a lot more innuendo.
Yeah.
But like sometimes, like, but with that overlay of the man-child.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what this Christmas special is going to be. I do know that there's supposed to be some, you know, pretty interesting musical guests. From what I like, for whatever reason, the only one I can remember is Grace Jones, and like that's already kind of like, wow, really, Grace Jones? That's interesting. And when I say I know that, I think somebody mentioned that on Twitter. I don't actually know that for a fact, so I might be misremembering. But so I know that there are musical guests. I think like Charo is in this. So yeah, you're going into more of the campy sort of side of things.
Yeah.
You know, because all children love Charo, obviously.
Do you think this is like his house is part of it, or he's outside of the house? Or do you think he's traveling somewhere?
Oh, so is this going to be one of those Christmas specials that has kind of like an attempt at a plot?
Yeah.
That's a good question. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it does fall into that. You know, I've gone back and watched some of those old specials because they were kind of dying off when I was a kid. Yeah, or they were transitioning, maybe I should say. Because I've gone and looked at like the old specials from like the 70s and whatnot. I watched, I guess last year I watched that one with Bing Crosby that he made like right before he died. With David Bowie shows up and it's one of those things where we have a plot where he goes over to England and spends Christmas there for reasons. So is it going to be something like that? Is it going to be Colbert Christmas? Yeah, is a great version of that, or is this going to just be? Is it going to be like, this is a Christmas party and here are special guests showing up? Is he going to be Santa has to show up or letters to Santa? Like, is there going to be something going on with Santa Claus and getting presents? I don't know. That's the thing. Like, so I don't know.
So do you think Santa Claus will be a character?
Yes.
Okay.
I would be really surprised if Santa Claus is not a character in some way.
Do you think Rudolph will show up?
No, because Rudolph was a property of so-and-so. Like
Blitzen?
Well, so you have your public domain reindeer, and then you have Rudolph. Technically, he's not in the public domain, and so I don't know if Rudolph will show up or if it's like off-brand Rudolph, or can you just talk about Rudolph without paying Johnny Marks or whoever, money? Or was it Gene Autry, I guess, who wrote the song?
I don't know.
So,
elves, 2 elves.
God, I hope there's elves.
Those same 2 elves from Ernest.
Hey, look, man, work is work. I can
like
respect that. They were not my problem with Ernest Saves Christmas. The elves were fine.
Well, do you think it's playing off of holiday specials from the 70s?
Sure, definitely.
Okay.
Because
I don't remember anything like that in the 80s at all.
No, that's the thing. Like, you still had Bob Hope kind of making stuff into the late 80s. Yeah, well, I know. The skeleton of Bob Hope was being wheeled out. Yeah, I do remember some in the 80s when I was a little kid. So I'm kind of familiar with the whole setup of we do jokes and we have like kind of skits and we have musical numbers and it's usually all building towards some sort of dumb climax of like, and then Santa shows up. Again, Colbert Christmas kind of is the perfect distillation of that. So no, because in the 80s what you had mostly was a move to either TV movies, often starring Dolly Parton. Yeah. Some of them very good. Once again, Smoky Mountain Christmas, lots of fun, silly and fun. Or you just had like music, just straight up concerts essentially. And that's kind of all that we have nowadays. The idea of the TV movie, you can go and put on Hallmark or Lifetime. And so now they have a monopoly on that, more or less. Not a monopoly, but like they've kind of taken over the whole idea and frankly just overproduced. And I'll watch those things. I mean, look, I enjoy. Yeah,
we saw the Casey Musgraves one.
Oh yeah. So we still have like musical specials that people will do. So Casey Musgraves had one.
Did Lady Gaga have one?
Yeah. Oh gosh, that was probably 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Lady Gaga special. Dolly Parton I think did another one this year. God bless her for carrying the flame for Christmas specials. Yeah. It's something that I kind of don't want to see go away. I don't know. I'm at the age where I'm old enough to be nostalgic for that sort of a thing. So, you ready to go check out Pee-wee's Christmas special?
Let's do it.
I just want to speak in defense of the humble fruitcake. Here's the problem. Americans make fruitcake all wrong. I understand if your objection is to the presence of fruit in cake. I disagree with you. I think it's delicious and you should all have my plum pudding. But let's leave aside that issue.
Another fruitcake?
Well, here's the thing. Americans don't make fruitcake right, and we haven't ever since Prohibition.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Fruitcake is not supposed to be dry. And if it's heavy with booze. You're supposed to soak that thing in booze for at least a month. Everybody's doing it wrong. 6 weeks, ideally. You make the fruitcake at like Halloween, and you just keep dosing that thing with whatever you want. Do you want it to be brandy? Do you want it to be, whiskey? Fine. Doesn't matter. The point is, that thing's got to be soaking up rum. Rum's a good one. It's supposed to soak up alcohol. So the long-running American joke of fruitcake is terrible because it's dry and it's a big lump of what? No, you're doing it all wrong, guys. They do it right in England.
Yeah.
Seriously. So let me just start with that. I do like what they do with the fruitcake in the end.
Yeah.
That's fun.
That was fun.
But no, I'm just saying this because like I actually really like fruitcake when it's done right. When you get a nice homemade fruitcake that's been soaked in whatever, it's so good. And I actually do like the mix of flavors. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we talk about Pee-wee's Christmas special.
You know, I brought up Paul Lynde. If he was alive, he died 82. If he was alive, not only would he be a part of this special, he probably would have been a regular cast member. He belongs in this show.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Pee-wee.
All of a sudden, I feel a sense of loss.
I know.
For what we could have had.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Pee-wee is this sort of thing where it's... I don't know how not to call it queer without there being actual... Like, there's no actual sex, and I don't entirely know what Paul Rubin's own sexuality is.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's bi or not.
But he definitely seems queer friendly.
Well, yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, you look at the people who are on this special, and it's Little Richard, it's Katie Lang, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Grace Jones.
Yeah.
This is not the Lawrence Welk show.
Right.
Okay. Like, just try to think of like the straightest thing you've ever seen. Although to be honest, the Lawrence Welk show actually isn't that when you watch it right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but only because they don't know how straight they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was great.
Yeah.
I'm totally not surprised that my mother didn't let us watch it. Not so much didn't let us watch it, but I'm sure it was on and she's just like, yeah, I'm not sitting through that because it's just not her sensibility at all.
Yeah.
And I know when I was watching the TV show as a kid, this is Saturday morning and she can leave the room. Whereas if this came on as a special at night, you know, like 8 o'clock or something,
Right.
I can't picture her.
So you'd never seen this?
No, I've never seen this. I would have remembered this. Absolutely. But of course I saw the show.
Yeah.
So, you know, there were things in here that I were familiar, of course, you know, Cherry and Jambi and all that stuff.
The floor.
The floor. Yeah, Clocky, you
Yeah.
know. So this is definitely like a Christmas special of Pee-wee's Playhouse, the TV show. Okay, so this is not an adult version of that. This is not going back to the show that was done at the Groundlings or anything like that. Although, I mean, obviously all of this is an outgrowth of that, but this is definitely the kids' show. I mean, you know, I say it's the kids' show, and yet that's the thing about Pee-wee is that it's always that kind of weird...
You feel like a joke is just about to slip in or it slightly slips in, like the whole making out with everyone in the house.
Right, exactly. Or, you know, the
Yvonne.
shirtless construction workers building their tower of fruitcake at the end. It's kind of like...
And then Grace Jones' outfit.
Right. Exactly. So it's always like kind of treading this interesting line between, yeah, it's a kooky kids show. It's also like all of these nods to kind of queer culture.
Yeah.
Innuendo and what the origin of the character was.
Yeah.
It's always trying to like walk this strange path.
There's some woke culture in this, I would say.
I mean, just the inclusion of Hanukkah alone.
I know.
Right?
This is the Hanukkah part of the show.
Which, you know, is good. Yeah, I mean, that's not something that usually comes up. Actually, all I can think of is Christmas Eve on Sesame Street, which has, you know, the briefest of nods to Hanukkah.
In fact, with how fast this show moves, like this thing, doesn't spend like 10 seconds on anything.
Yeah.
You know, like Magic Johnson appears, it's gone. And
yeah, Cher appears.
Cher appears.
Welcome back. Third appearance on our show, Cher.
Yeah.
And she is there for like 30 seconds, and it's a great 30 seconds.
It is.
But that's all it is. This thing is packed with so many celebrities.
Yeah. You know what? That's our third, I think, Cher spotting of the year. Ah!
Yes, the word of the day was year. Because of course it was.
Of course it was.
I loved this. I think it would have driven my mother up a wall, but
Yeah.
I thought it was great. So yeah, it follows the format of a TV Christmas special. It's Christmas time at the Playhouse. Pee-wee is getting ready and people drop by, characters from the show and celebrities, and it's all leading up to, you know, Santa Claus finally appearing at the end. And Pee-wee has to learn a lesson about, you know, being generous. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's your standard special.
It's Pee-wee, so everything is ADD.
Yeah,
Like,
it is
nothing
very
is
fast.
allowed to get stale at all, ever.
Everything moves very quickly. You know, they go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next. It's very quick.
Which is why Katie Lang, who he just heard.
Yeah.
Like, so he just heard a tape. He was like, oh, I want her on my show.
Is that what happened?
Yeah. Like, he'd never heard of her before then.
Really?
Just grabbed her. And she ran with it, man.
Oh my God, she's a trip in this.
Yeah. She nearly steals the show because she's just so outlandish and so...
Yeah, she sings Jingle Bell Rock, and it's her in this, you know, blue outfit and just kind of reeling around the stage, belting Jingle Bell Rock and just, I don't know, like this crazed marionette almost.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, and she is just giving it her all. And she's not the only musical guest. We brought up Grace Jones. Yeah.
And Charo.
And Charo. And the Del Rubio triplets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What again? The
yeah,
Del
wow.
Rubio triplets. Sure, why not?
I know.
Grace Jones shows up, and it's one of these things where like he gets a package delivered, and Grace Jones is inside, and she was supposed to actually be delivered to the White House, not the Playhouse.
Yeah.
And I just want to know. It's 1988. Reagan is in office still. Just at the very end, I want to know what Grace Jones is doing at the White House. Should we talk about the opening of the show with the Marine Choir?
Yeah.
Actually, not Marines, actually.
Right.
They are the men's choir of UCLA in Marine uniforms, but it looks like the Marine Choir, which is a very weird way to open.
And I think they tried to get them, and the scheduling didn't work out or something. Or
Well, maybe Grace Jones is going to the White House in revenge. I don't know. I don't know. Starting with like the Marine band is kind of a fun idea because they all kind of remind me almost of like Nutcrackers. We said Cher shows up very briefly. In fact, that's how we find out the word of the year.
yeah. Whoopi shows up.
Yeah, Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, that's a whole thing.
I'm sorry. In 2 years, she'll be showing up.
Oh, but yeah, I know. That's a whole thing where he's even turning away celebrities, which is great. He's doing all of this on like a video phone, which in 88 was kind of like that weird retro future idea, basically Jetsons type thing. And it's very weird to watch. No, it's not weird to watch in 2022, but it's funny how now getting on a Zoom is just, like, okay, I got to go zoom in on something. Like nobody really wanted to do video conferencing until we were all forced to do it. And then like last night I was on a Zoom call with a bunch of friends on
And
Fridays.
you have backgrounds you can put behind you.
And that's the thing. He has a background behind him that he like pulls down.
He changes the background. Like it's his house, and then it's like a space.
And so it's kind of funny just watching this and being like, yeah, that's actually kind of normal now.
So there's a plot,
Yeah.
a vague plot of like he's just writing this monstrous list.
Just an unwieldy like list of demands from Santa. And also he's working Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello to death making Christmas cards. But we'll get to that. Oh yeah, so he has this huge list, but through the episode it's sort of like, trying to explain like the meaning of Christmas, and you have to be kind to people, and you have to be generous with everyone, and he's telling one of the puppets, who's very cynical about it's funny because like they're kind of doing the whole every Christmas special, not every Christmas special, but so many of them have this element of Christmas has all been commercialized and it's all about getting toys and spending money, and it's cheap and it's capitalist. And then the point of the Christmas special is to say, no, Christmas is about,
The Christ child.
family or friends or the nativity. Boy, I was not expecting them to go right to the nativity in this one.
Like you may as well have had like John Denver playing the guitar in the background.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, exactly. But it's also, I mean, look, Charlie Brown Christmas does the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's very funny and unexpected in the Pee-wee Playhouse to go to the meaning of Christmas is actually the birth of Jesus, which, to be fair, that is true. I mean, that is actually...
Take that, censors.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorry, secular humanists.
Yeah.
But that is where Christmas comes from. And so it's funny seeing that, but I like that the way they do it is it keeps in kind of the sensibility of the show where as he's narrating kind of like, or one of the characters is narrating what the meaning of Christmas is, this is the birth of Jesus Christ and all this stuff. They're showing a child's nativity pageant.
Yeah.
So that kind of like home movies or something. So that, I don't know, like that felt right for the show.
Yeah.
Were you ever in a Christmas pageant?
I forget. I don't know.
I was.
Yeah.
In like kindergarten, I was a wise man. Actually, I've been a wise man a couple of times, which is ironic.
Yeah.
Because I am very stupid.
No.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like they're doing that thing that Christmas specials do, but at the same time, it's sort of they're going through it so fast and almost as a joke, but at the same time, not as a joke.
Yeah.
And
it's like just long enough to not be a joke,
but at the same time, it's not like meant to be cloying or again.
And it's not as long as Katie Lang's bit.
Nowhere near it. Like Katie Lang gets a huge showstopper piece. It's pretty great. But what I find interesting is that, like, again, it's that kind of walking that line between actually embracing a thing and being for children and also nodding at the audience of, we're doing that thing that Christmas specials have to do. And it's the same thing with the ending, where because Pee-wee is being very greedy and he wants basically all of the gifts that he could possibly get, when Santa finally shows up at the end, Santa's just like, yeah, I can deliver all your gifts, but the problem is then nobody else on Earth will have any gifts. And so Pee-wee's earlier words about how Christmas is about helping others comes back and bites him, and he has to do the right thing and basically tell Santa, okay, how many gifts do I have to give up in order for everyone else to get their gifts? And of course the answer is all of them. And he has to do it. And it's that sort of thing where, you have to learn a lesson and be generous at Christmas. But because he does that, of course, he gets a reward, which is that he gets to fly off with Santa and actually give out all of the gifts.
Just like Ernest.
Oh, man. You're right.
Sorry.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, it does that thing that Christmas specials are supposed to do, but it's not insincere,
Right.
but it's winking the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
Which is like the nature of the Pee-wee character.
It's that Pee-wee winking where it's like it's sincerely camp.
Yes.
Like
yeah.
It loves being camp.
It's not actually walking around with air quotes the whole time. Oh yeah, so at one point he has Frankie Avalon. Well, not at one point. Throughout the episode, they have Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello are part of the special. They are being forced to make Christmas cards for Pee-wee.
500 each.
And it's one of these things where because this is originally a kid's show, they are showing arts and crafts, and here's a way that you can make essentially like a stamp using a potato. This is one of those types of cameos where they're pulling back to like 1960s kitschy culture. Frankie and Annette, it was all those beach movies, and I guess they would have just done. Actually, I'm not entirely sure what year Back to the Beach came out because he shows up in a cameo in that.
Yeah.
Pee-wee Herman. But I watched that a lot for some reason when I was like, I don't know, 12. I was, of all the movies to be really into, that was one, and I don't know why. Because I knew who they were.
Yeah.
Frankie Avalon, of course, is from Philadelphia. So like when Philadelphia didn't have a whole lot of famous people from it, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was like Frankie Avalon, Chubby Checker.
John Oates?
No, see, that didn't come up because like Hall & Oates were contemporary.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and that wasn't as big a deal. It was always like, oh no, we got to go back to guys who were singing in the 50s. Can we talk about the cartoon that they show?
Oh, the tree?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so the king of cartoons shows up, of course.
Right.
And the cartoon they show, this was very exciting for me, is Christmas Comes But Once a Year, which is an old Fleischman Studios cartoon from the 30s. And I loved it. I loved this cartoon as a kid because, so it's like the 1930s and it's like a bunch of little orphans at their orphanage don't have any toys and they're shivering and they're miserable. And the professor guy from the Fleischman cartoons is like, trundles by and sees all these kids are miserable. So he dresses up as Santa Claus and he makes toys out of junk. And basically gives them like the best Christmas ever. Yeah. So it's all like turning a washboard and a couple of hangers into a sled, and turning a coffee pot and some dishware into a train set. It's a wonderfully creative cartoon that I really, really was happy to see. It's so good, and I love them. And when I was a little kid, they would be I grew up. I've brought this up before. I grew up across the street from a little video rental place, and they would rent out kids' movies. They made their own dubs of the movies sometimes, so they would throw cartoons on after whatever show you were watching. So like after Pinocchio was done on the videotape, then there would be like a bunch of short cartoons. So it was like Betty Boop and like Coco the Clown and all that stuff. But this was one that I remember watching a lot. So it was really fun seeing this show up in the special because go online, you can find it very easily. It's called Christmas Comes But Once a Year, and it's just charming, and I love it. But yeah, the whole making toys out of weird objects very much fits the tone of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, so Dinah Shore, she's one of the video phone people.
Yeah.
And she does 12 Days of Christmas that is so long that he puts a dummy of himself up to listen to it.
Yeah, so I gotta be honest, I'm with Pee-wee there,
Yeah.
Like I like the 12 Days of Christmas in theory, but boy, that's a long song.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just, you start getting past the 7 swans of swimming, and it's just kind of like you start looking at your watch. It's just like, oh my god, there have been more than once I have thought to myself, is there a way to put my own mannequin here, and just I want to get like those glasses Homer wears where he just draws the eyes on and he looks like he's awake.
Oh, we have Oprah very, very briefly.
Yeah, Oprah very briefly shows up again on the video phone. And it's funny watching like how young some of these folks are.
Yeah.
Like at the time, of course, I'm 9 years old. I wouldn't have thought of them as young, but yeah, Oprah looks really young here. Eventually, we'll get to Oprah actually, because I've never seen The Color Purple.
Joan Rivers looks young.
Joan Rivers looks alive.
Yeah.
That's mean. You know what? No, I don't take it back. If anybody could deal with that, that's Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, it's
Charo looks young.
Charo does look young here. She's still alive?
She is still alive.
Wow, good
Yep.
for her.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. Like Zsa Zsa Gabor is in this. Pee-wee makes a joke about like marrying her or not marrying her. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to get those two confused.
Who?
Charo and Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Wait, what?
Because like they'd be on the Tonight Show with
Yeah.
Johnny Carson.
If you had said Ava and Zsa Zsa, I'd go sure. But Charo and Zsa Zsa Gabor, they're
I think because it was like you just kind of knew them by their first names.
well.
and,
Okay, so here's the thing: they're the
or no, I didn't get them confused as they were that they were the same person. I thought they were related or something. Because I knew there was an Ava and Zsa Zsa, and
you just thought Charo was like the third sister.
or I forgot about Ava and then just thought it was just Charo.
Yes, Zsa Zsa Gabor, Charo, like they kind of fall into that sort of the type of people who just showed up on talk shows, I guess.
Yeah. And Hollywood Squares.
Yeah, it's a very much.
Speaking of,
Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of the people on this were on Hollywood Squares. You know, they tried bringing back Match Game, and I just don't. Well, first of all, you had Alec Baldwin as the host, and I was just like, no. Look, do I love 30 Rock? Yes. Do I want to watch Alec Baldwin host Match Game? No, no, I don't. And I watched. But
I honestly don't know who you could get to replace Gene Rayburn.
No.
And I'm not sure if it's a worthwhile endeavor. He's a weird guy.
Yeah, but like bring back Hollywood Squares
Yeah.
again. You know, like I don't know if we're gonna do because they have like Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, which is fine. You know, I got really excited when I saw Paul Scheer on there.
Yeah.
I did. I tried to explain to my mother who Paul Scheer was. I'm just like, never mind. You know, we have like a space for that on television, and I like garbage. So I don't know. Bring back Hollywood Squares.
Remember when Maya Rudolph tried to do
A variety show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't know that you can do a regular straight variety show. And I don't know if people are patient enough for a camp variety show.
Yeah.
Or at least not for an every week thing. That's very much of a different world. And it's interesting how, you know, this Pee-wee Herman special is kind of reaching back to something that was already had died out by the end of the 80s. You know, it's doing a Christmas special in the vein of something from the 70s. And it works because it's Pee-wee's Playhouse, right? Like, not that those shows were ever sincere to begin with. Like, the whole point of them was, like, dumb comedy, you know, sketches, musical numbers, whatever. I don't know. I just find it interesting, like, you could still do this as a kid's show, and then, like, it just dies for 20 years? Is that what you say that is? 20 years? And then, like, you know, Colbert Christmas, you know, comes out in 2008, 20 years later. I'll still put that on. I still think the Colbert Christmas special is great. It's hard to revive these things.
But I think like there have been musical acts that do it, and I feel like it started as a musical act thing. I mean, with the whole, you know, like Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin thing.
Like the Christmas specials, do you know where they actually, I think they may have started with?
Were they a radio thing?
It was a radio thing. It was specifically Bob Hope.
Oh, okay.
During the Second World War, they were doing USO shows. Okay. And so, like, I've got, like, again, my interest in old time radio, I've got a bunch of broadcasts of things during the war where it was the same sort of thing, where it'd be comedy sketches, and like variety shows did start off on the radio. Yeah. Okay. And before, like, Bob Hope, you had things like the Maxwell House, Good News of, you know, 1938 or whatever. It's all an outgrowth of vaudeville.
Well, you would know this better than me because you are a old radio fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I find old time radio fascinating, and it's sometimes enjoyable, sometimes really, really cringy, and you go, oh, you know, because you get into like the racial problem of it, like that can be, yeah. But yeah, no, I think it all comes out of radio. And it's interesting just how it really has died out. The only variety show of that kind, I guess, in a sense, is Saturday Night Live. And it's not quite the same thing. but it is sort of the same thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The television world is so fragmented. You probably never see anything like that again. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's not. Like I'm watching this as a weird sort of. I'm almost watching those sorts of things as nostalgia for nostalgia. Because I didn't grow up with variety shows. I grew up with reruns or with something like Pee-wee here, a reference to a type of thing that I didn't actually grow up with.
Yeah, see, you can pick and choose what to watch in the 70s. Like, you can watch, the Star Wars Donnie and Marie.
Yeah,
Whereas
oh my God.
I just had to watch all that crap. like I loved Donnie and Marie as a kid and stuff because what else am I going to do? There's nothing else on. I mean, it's Captain and Tennille and,
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's just...
Every exposure I've ever had to the Donnie and Marie show has been... I mean, you can't watch it as a normal person. I mean, my brain just wouldn't let me. I'm absolutely amazed whenever I see...
It's like watching like a bad high school play or something.
Yeah. Do you know how many times I've watched Donnie and Marie singing Reelin' in the Years?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like Donnie and Marie, and I don't like Steely Dan. But I've watched that clip so many times, and I don't know why.
Well, see, that's how we got through it, because we'd saw, because they just pumped out all the time, so it's always something new. It get to suck at something new this week.
Yeah.
So. And then Fantasy Island came along, and it's like, oh, well, finally we have some entertainment.
So when I watch something like Pee-wee, the Christmas special, like I watch it with a certain amount of cultural remove. Because, like, I know Pee-wee Herman, like, there's something that he's kind of filtering down to, like, kids watching it that is something that I never experienced. And you did. So what is it like when you watch something like this? Or when you look at Pee-wee Herman and you think about the movie, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Just think about, like, because you've got 8 years on me. You actually kind of, you didn't live through the 60s, but you still were part of like that mid-century
but it's like
world.
It's the timing is the thing. Like it's just how fast everything is presented at you that makes it a completely different experience. With variety shows, each sketch would be between commercials, so it's just a long slug. If it's a bad sketch, it's like you gotta live with it. So. And
you're actually left like waiting for the commercial.
Yeah,
that's rough. I mean, there have been times I've watched Saturday Night Live and felt that way.
You know me, I love commercials. I'm like,
that's
I
true.
can't wait for the commercial. I wish the commercial would start. But that's just how I grew up.
That's so weird to me.
Because TV was bad.
Yeah,
it was boring. I wanted to squeeze the Charmin. It's almost like Pee-wee is trying to be a commercial. It's like taking the speed, like the editing of commercials. Everything has to be as fast as possible. Like, you can't be bored. So like it doesn't even register as even commenting on old culture to me, because it's just so fast. It feels new still.
So that was Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse, starring, obviously, Paul Reubens with, oh my gosh, where do we even begin with? Do we talk about, like, the guest stars or, like, the regular actors, too? Because, obviously with, like, your regular actors, you have, like, Lawrence Fishburne and Esapatha Murkison and John Paragon and, Lynn Marie Stewart and all folks like that. But then you've also got all of your guest stars, so you've got Charo and Frankie Avalon and Annette Funicello and the Del Rubio triplets and Whoopi Goldberg, Magic Johnson. We didn't really even talk about Magic Johnson, who apparently is the cousin of the magic screen. Yeah. Grace Jones, Katie Lang, Little Richard. We didn't even talk about Little Richard ice skating, but he is Little Richard. Also, welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
Joan Rivers, Dinah Shore, Oprah Winfrey, Zsa Zsa Gabor. Yeah, Cher. Yeah, I mean, it's
you know what?
crazy.
All of these people could have easily been in like the late 80s, early 90s Columbos as well.
You know what?
Because I know Little Richard was.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Written, of course, by John Paragon and Paul Reubens. Paragon also worked with Elvira So they all come out of the same. It's all from the same soup.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, had there been a Halloween special, I don't know if there is, but I would imagine Elvira would have been in it.
Well, see, now you're getting into an interesting thing. Because the thing about Pee-wee is, the original Pee-wee, of course, is much more lascivious than what's on the TV show. Okay? Elvira would have fit in the stage show. You can't put Elvira on a children's Saturday morning TV show.
I would normally agree, but there's Grace Jones.
That's true.
Wearing that getup.
That's true. You got a point, man. I don't know. And it's not like I never saw Elvira when I was a kid, so
yeah. Like it's the 80s, like you're looking at like, steroided up dudes all the time anyways.
Let us also have Elvira. Yeah. You know what? You're right. You're right.
I am.
I'm sure we could still get some sort of Halloween special with Elvira and Pee-wee Herman.
Yeah.
So you can follow us on social media. We are Mary vs. Movies on Twitter, for how long that lasts. And we are also Mary vs. Movies on Mastodon, where it's like Mary vs. Movies at mas.to. I'm having trouble with Mastodon getting it to post, but what are you going to do? Hive seems to be dead. So forget that. We are Mary vs. Movies on Instagram, where of course
Hive.
I know I liked Hive too. So I don't know what's happening there. Yes, so we are Mary vs. Movies on Instagram, where of course I like to post, images from the movie and whatever. Follow us there. That's fun. Let's see. We have a Tumblr that I haven't really done anything with. That's Mary versus the Movies. And yeah, I know the website's got to come out, but I don't know, man. We're working a lot of overtime in our real jobs, and I just haven't had a chance to launch it. It exists. It's just it has not been launched. You can't see it yet. But maryvsmovies.com is coming. Let's see. We are available on all of the major platforms. We are on Apple Podcasts, where you can rate and review us. And please, please, please do that so that other folks can learn about our show. We've gotten some lovely reviews from people, so thank you for that. We are on Stitcher and Spotify and Google Play. And if you go over to Libsyn, you can find our website and plug in our RSS feed into whatever your podcatcher of choice is. Next week is Christmas. Well, it's like a couple days before Christmas. I've recently been told that there is a certain film that is set at Christmas time that I was not expecting, but I think we may actually cover.
What's that?
Cobra.
Nice.
I swear to God. So I was, it's 1 frame per second from the movie, 1 frame per second or whatever the Twitter account is or whatever, recently followed me for Cobra. And I'm like, I want to follow this guy back. But I have never actually seen Cobra.
Yeah.
And I happened to have noticed this and when I clicked on it, and there was just a scene of like Christmas music plays in the background. It was just like words at the bottom. And I went, well, if this is set at Christmas, that counts. And I'm going to do it because let me tell you, it's hard to find Christmas movies that I haven't seen. We're running out. I had thought about doing Diner. We might still do that the next week. I don't know. But we're going to do Cobra.
All right. You know what? There should be a list of macho Christmas movies, like movies that you can technically claim are Christmas, like Die Hard and Cobra.
See, I get so annoyed with Die Hard's a great movie.
Yeah.
But Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I go, okay, yeah, guys, I get it. Yeah, bacon is awesome too. Whatever, shut up. Well, it's like, yeah, okay, this was funny the first time I heard it. And again, it's not even like they're not even wrong. Because yes, Die Hard, it takes place at Christmas. There's Christmas music in it. It's all about him reconciling with his wife.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with any of that. But it's also, when you say Die Hard is a Christmas movie, Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, you're doing epic bacon posting, and it's so stupid.
It is annoying.
Yes.
Like, as a joke, it's like, yeah, that's not funny
That
anymore.
was funny 10 years ago. Yeah. Get a new joke.
But I've never heard that about Cobra being
No!
there. And I've seen it. It's been a long time, but...
Yeah, I have no idea how it could at all have anything to do with Christmas. Yeah. So Brazil is more of a Christmas movie, I have a feeling. Unfortunately, we can't cover Brazil because I've seen it many times.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to watch Cobra next week.
Okay, that works.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah.
So until next time.
If you don't have snow at home, just use 20 pounds of coconut shavings.